Here's a Spurs news roundup on deadline day, providing the latest top news. So much has happened, so here's what's happened so far today. So I want to update you before we get very close to that deadline. If you're new to the channel, please like, subscribe. Let's get straight into it. First part of the video, I'll give you all the top headlines. A lot of them will be dissecting the key ones too. So, reluctant Nico firstly reports that Aston Villa are understood to hold a significant interest in both Tottenham Hotspur stars Lucas Bergvall and Wilson Odobert. And on Dominic Solanke, the Sun Sports say that Dominic Solanke's ankle injury is worse than Tottenham Hotspur first feared. The striker is facing a considerable spell on the sidelines and could be forced to undergo surgery on the problem. Fabrizio Romano says that Tottenham Hotspur made an inquiry for Kolo Muani in the last 24 hours. One to watch is progressing quickly. Next report from several sources, including Girona eSports. They state that Girona plan to sign Spurs winger Bryan Gil, providing the player terminates his contract with Tottenham Hotspur. Matt Law, via the Daily Telegraph, says that Wilson Odobert was being linked with a move away on Sunday night, but is more likely now that Spurs work to find moves for Muani Solomon and Bryan Gil before the window shuts. Thomas Frank has also suggested they'd like a new central defender, but finding one of the quality he's after, who is prepared to play second fiddle to Christian Romero and Mickey van der Ven, has not proved easy. Next report from the Times Sport states that Tottenham are hopeful of bringing in one more forward and a central defender, although club sources say Spurs will only move on deadline day if the right players are available. There is no indication Spurs have yet received negotiations with Paris Saint-Germain over Kolo Muani. Next report from iPaper. They say Muani Solomon is now set to stay put at Tottenham. Leeds had considered a renewed move after Buonanotte, the deal collapsed, but Thomas Frank has seen enough to give the winger another opportunity unless something changes later in the day. By the way, I've got a further update on Kolo Muani more recently. Stay tuned. So I'm starting from the start of the day, should have said, and going more recently. So you want more recent news, skip to the end. The Sun Football report the Yeast Bissouma is likely to remain at Tottenham beyond this evening's transfer deadline, despite strong links linking him to a move to Galatasaray. Next, Fabrizio Romano says that Tottenham make contact to explore a move for Kolo Muani after interest was revealed overnight. Spurs are informed that he is available and there is serious interest. It depends on the fee, as PSG want an obligation to buy. Alistair Gold via Football London says that Muani Solomon is understood to want to remain at Spurs beyond this window. The club will listen to offers for the player though today before all parties make a final decision. Paul O'Keefe says Tottenham Hotspur are in negotiation with Paris Saint-Germain for Kolo Muani. Indications say it could be an initial loan. Next, Fabrizio Romano says that Tottenham have almost agreed personal terms for Kolo Muani. Negotiations ongoing with PSG on a deal formula, with Spurs insisting for an obligation to buy. Next, the Guardian Sport stays understood that Manuel Kanji's representatives are continuing to discuss a potential move away from Manchester City before today's deadline, but it's looking increasingly likely he could stay or go elsewhere. David Alstein says that Tottenham Hotspur reached an agreement with Paris Saint-Germain to sign Kolo Muani. Deal for 26-year-old PSG striker is a straight season-long loan, no option or obligation. Personal's done. The French international is en route to London for his medical. Fabrizio Romano says that Kolo Muani to Tottenham, here we go, deal done for a loan move with an option to buy clause not mandatory. Paris Saint-Germain accepts Spurs' proposal as Kolo Muani wanted the move out of the project. Exclusive story confirmed. Fabrizio Romano says more on the Kolo Muani and Tottenham exclusive story from last night. He's changed his mind. He said the deal does not include any buy option clause now. After final email exchange between Spurs and PSG, Tottenham will pay a €5 million loan fee. The Independents say that Spurs are still discussing, though, the possible buy option to include in the Kolo Muani deal with PSG. That bit is still ongoing. The BBC said that Tottenham are looking to sign a central defender before the deadline. The Times Sports say that an agreement is in place for Bryan Gil to join Girona for €10 million. It's about £8 million. Some stats, Kolo Muani's career to date, the new Spurs man he's going to be. Began at Nates, got 23 goals, 87 appearances. Moved to Frankfurt in 2022. 43 GA and 50 appearances in a singular season. He joins PSG on a €75 million deal. 13 GA in 20 appearances for Juventus in 2025 and 9 goals in 31 appearances for French NT, experiencing Champions League, World Cup and the Euros. Next report from the Times states that Crystal Palace have registered an interest in Muani Solomon. Matteo Romero say that Bryan Gil to Girona is around €7 million, so they're going a little bit less. Matt Barlow via the Mail Sport says that Crystal Palace have had an offer for Solomon rejected, and this was over the weekend. And last but not least, Standard Sport said that Manor Solomon's representatives are working on finding a route to regular game time for the player. Thomas Frank is ready to sanction his departure as long as he feels he's not short on attacking options, and Crystal Palace have made contact over a possible deal. So a few mixed things about that. Some say it's been rejected and others haven't said that necessarily. And last, actually, I've got one more thing. Tottenham's attacking options. So Xavi Simons, Dejan Kulusevski, Mohamed Kudus, James Maddison, Brennan Johnson, Dominic Solanke, Matthias Tell will now be Randall Kolo Muani, Wilson Odobert and Richarlison. Of course, you still got Gill and Solomon, but they're both expected to leave the club. So there's your Tottenham news. Currently recorded mid-afternoon. So there we go. Let's get straight into them. We discuss your Tottenham headlines. What should we discuss first then? Let's talk about Solomon. I think he could make a move away from Tottenham. I think it looks like he's either going to stay or go to a Premier League club, it seems. I'm not sure what I think will happen, but let me know in the comments below what you think should happen. Interesting that apparently Villa hold interest in Bergbaum or Odobert. I can't see them going anywhere, so I don't want to speak about that. It'd be a shame if the Sun Sport are right when the journalist saying that Solanke's injury is actually worse than first feared, which would be the likely case, the fact that we've gone for Randall Kolo Muani, which really leads me into the next thing. Mixed feelings on the fan base, and I don't know a lot about him, so please educate me and let me know in the comments below. But I think this is a good thing, surely, to bring in an extra striker. And the bits I've seen and the bits I've heard I really like, and I think it makes sense on a loan move, especially if that Solanke injury is long. If Solanke is back in 1 week, 2 week, 3 week, it doesn't really make sense to have three strikers, as happy as I am with it. So it'll be interesting to see on that. Overall, I think it's positive. What have we got? Yeah, just Matt Law saying about Odobert, looked like he's going to make a move away Sunday night. I mean, he hasn't had a chance to prove himself in the Spurs show. He needs to do more, but I want him to get a chance. So, no, not for me. Bissouma now looks like he's going to stay. I only see that as a good thing, I think, for depth. I think to provide competition with Paulinho, although I think he plays second fiddle to Paulinho. I like that he can keep him on his toes, and I wouldn't be happy with just having like Gray, as much as I like him, as the cover for Paulinho. It's not fair for Gray as well, where I think maybe it's a little bit better going forward. It wouldn't be disastrous, and I do worry about Bissouma with the kind of dressing room and the attitude point and thing. It would have been ideal to shift him out, but it all depends on the price, I suppose. Also, you've got Manuel Kanji. Well, reports say since that he could make a move outside of the Premier League, so I don't think that's going to happen, but I think Tottenham could miss a trick with this one. £15 million or €50 million even feels like an absolute no-brainer. We've got the here we go and everything from Kolo Muani more recently, €5 million loan fee. Be interesting to see though if we can manage to get buy option. I'd hope we didn't get I hope it wouldn't be an obligation that PSG want. I think Spurs prefer an option. That's why I didn't know if the deal will go through. So they probably go like, right, we'll go without it, because Spurs are like option, and PSG are like obligation. If you can get an option, that'd be great, where you get to choose. People are unfamiliar. An obligation means you have to buy him at the end of the loan, which doesn't give you much choice. He could be injured, or it could be disastrous, and that's the problem you've got. BBC saying Spurs want to sign a central defender. I think we'll be unsuccessful in doing so. I mean, there's Gomez from Liverpool. There's a few out there. Mark Gahey, I mean, pay 35 million. That's not a lot at all. Not a lot at all. I think we've done well to get as much as we did for Brian Gill. Doesn't sound like a lot because it's an awful deal. We paid for him at the time, 25 million plus Lamella, but to get 20 million euros is more than I think us Spurs fans would probably expect. I think we're thinking around 5. Yeah, that's it really. There's a lot of it about Solomon and about his representatives. So, yeah, I just have to see what happens with his future. His representatives want him to play first team football like you would with any client, any player. So we'll have to see, but those are my thoughts. Thank you very much for watching. Get involved in the comments below. It's your full analysis just delivered in the second part, and your Tottenham headlines in the first part of the video. But thank you very much for watching, and for now, a massive comment, you Spurs. Like, subscribe for all the latest news on deadline day regarding Tottenham.